Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And a couple of days ago, we got our season premiere of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 with episode 1 titled The Northern Star. And what I'm going to be doing with this season is what I did with last year's season of Daredevil Born Again, is each week when a new episode releases, I'll every week, hopefully the day it drops, if not the day it drops, and maybe a couple days later, hell, maybe even a week later, depends what goes on with time. And I'll be giving you my quick thoughts and my quick assumptions about what is going on and what the future of the season holds and what the future of Daredevil holds. So I did this all of last year. I'll probably have a card at the end, or maybe I'll have a card right here for you to go watch that. And so I'm going to be doing that again this year, and maybe even with season three whenever that decides to come out, which hopefully is next year, which I'm pretty sure they confirmed. So yeah, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on episode 1 of Daredevil season 2, giving you my quick thoughts, my assumptions, my theories, and just all from that. So, with that all the way, here are my just short, quick thoughts on episode 1. And yes, your eyes don't deceive you. I moved rooms again. Um, Before getting into anything else, this is not what my background's going to be looking like. This is not what my videos are going to be looking like. This is just for a couple of days because I'm still moving in here. As you can see back there, that's my closet. I don't even have fucking clothes in there yet. That's how long I've been moving for. So, yeah, with that out of the way, I just want to get that out of the way. So, no more stalling. Here are my thoughts on episode 1. So, episode 1 of season 2 picks up right where we left off with season 1, where Fisk basically makes vigilantes illegal and kind of sends out police officers, like military people, to go after vigilantes, kind of hunt them down. And Daredevil, all of his friends and colleagues are kind of hiding away from all of them, and Daredevil's trying to stop Fisk, which what else is new when it comes to this show and to this character. And so we kind of pick up from that, and we kind of do the continuation of that. And Fisk is still the mayor; nothing has changed there. And the episode opens with Daredevil on a boat, and he's basically stopping it because it is Fisk's boat, and he ordered it because there's a bunch of weapons and all this other stuff on there. And we open right up into the action, and it instantly feels like Daredevil. You get that Daredevil like adrenaline once again when you start this episode, and I really liked that. And something that I've really enjoyed throughout this whole season, especially since this is now MCU canon and is made by Disney, I really like how this show is making Daredevil feel like its own thing and making it feel like its own universe in a sense. Because when a lot of people were saying that Daredevil is going to be coming into the MCU, a lot of people had their doubts. A lot of people didn't like it because they thought like, oh, it can't be violent. It's not going to have that Daredevil like feel, and it's going to be street level. So who knows how they're going to do with that? And then they didn't do very good with the first set of writers with season 1, and then they brought a whole new writers and new team, completely overhauled it, and they continue with this season, and they have shown that this show can handle on its own, and these characters can handle their own because they don't really need anything to connect to the MCU. They never bring up other heroes, they don't bring up other events. This feels like you're watching the Netflix show all over again, and I really like that. And you get that from the opening of this episode with Daredevil fighting people, and it's violent, like as always. Which, if Daredevil is not violent, then you've already lost your audience. Which it continues that, thankfully. And that fight choreography in the beginning was it's not as good as a Netflix show, but it is pretty good because there's one scene where he just fucking breaks some dude's arm, which was fucking awesome, by the way. And so it kind of opens with that, gives you a quick idea what the season is going to be about, and then the ship basically just Titanics. Like there's literally a shot of it just sinking, and it looks straight out of the fucking Titanic. So it right out of the gate, it already kind of introduces like, oh, this is gonna be a lot of action packed and a lot of fighting in this season compared to season 1, which was kind of slow and building up, having you know Matt not beat Daredevil for a little bit. It's kind of slowly building up to that, and when the show was coming out on the behind the scenes, they were showing that Matt was going to be finally getting the black Daredevil outfit, which is one of my favorite Daredevil outfits, and I was really glad that they decided to give him that outfit instead of the generic red one. And another thing that they added, which fans have been pleading for since day one of this show, is that he finally got his double D's, like the logo. The fuck were you thinking about? And shortly right after all that happens and the ship sinks and Matt, gets off the ship and goes to safety, all that, we see Matt and Karen meet up once again, which is after the final of season 1, which they've been basically planning out stopping Fisk, which again, what else is new with these characters? And we now find out that these two are romantically interested in each other because they start having a hot makeout sesh. Oh yeah. So those two are back together, which doesn't I don't that didn't surprise me, and if it surprised you, then whoa, good for you, I guess. But it didn't surprise me. I saw that coming ever since they fucking announced this season. So yeah, that I guess that was cool to see. And it's kind of weird to see them still in that fucking coffee shop, and but instead of them actually in the coffee shop, which looks like it got raided by people, there's just like a little hole in a whole different building that they just go through. They just move the fridge and then they just go through the hole. That doesn't sound right talking about Matt and Karen getting back together and then saying going through the hole. But anyways, and then we meet up with Fisk, and then he sees that. This just made me laugh. I loved how when he saw that his ship sank, he just goes, "This was made by terrorists." And he refers to vigilantes as terrorists, which I just think is flat out fucking hilarious. So, and then we also and another character that we get introduced to that is now alongside the Fisk character is Mr. Charles, who is played by Matthew Lillard. When he was announced that he was going to be in the season, I was beyond excited. I absolutely love Matthew Lillard. I think he was one of my favorite actors growing up because of Scooby Doo, and now is kind of getting his uprising and scream again with Stu, with all the theories coming out with him all over again. So, when you see Matthew Lillard just in general in a show or in a movie or just in general, you know it's going to be good because it's Matthew Lillard and he's always a scene stealer and he's always just a delight to see. And that's exactly what he is in this show. And what I like, and so far what I'm getting from this character, what it seems to be the idea of moving on is that Fisk doesn't like Mr. Charles very much, and Mr. Charles doesn't really give a shit what Fisk thinks about him because Mr. Charles kind of gets under his skin, kind of twists his nuts a little bit, and he kind of accidentally insults his wife in front of him, but he doesn't really give a shit, and he's basically telling Fisk like, "Hey, I'll help you, but I don't really give a fuck who you are," pretty much. So I really like what they're doing with Matthew Lillard. He's a joy to be in this show already. I already really enjoy him. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with him because it seems as though that there's going to be some tension between those two, which I'm very excited for. And again, Matthew Lillard, it's always great to see him in a show. And something that I was really bummed out about season one that they are now bringing back into this in a way is the inclusion of Muse. Muse is one of the villains and one of the antagonists in season one, which is one of the big characters in Daredevil in the comics. I haven't read many Daredevil comics, but I do know that Muse is very popular. And I was kind of really bummed out how they used him in season one, and because in the comics he does in fact die like he does in season one, but then he dies in season one. I'm like, oh, then they're gonna do that whole thing from the comics where he comes back from hell, but it didn't seem like they were going that route, and that really bummed me out because I think that was a character that you could have done a lot with, and I think that's a character that could have gone a lot of places. But in this season, we see Matt's old girlfriend, who was the lawyer. I forget her name already. Fuck, that tells you how long it's been. But I can't remember her name, but she was the psychiatrist and the therapist for Muse before he like flipped out and tried to kill her or whatever. And it seems that the trauma from that really weighs on her, and the trauma is slowly getting to her more and more as days go on, and she's seeing hallucinations of Muse, and like she's like just seeing him all the time and getting angry and getting scared. And I don't know how accurate this is, but I keep seeing people on the internet saying, "Oh, they're gonna go the route where she becomes Muse in a way, or becomes like him." Now, I have not personally seen anything about that about Muse, so I don't know if that is from the comics, but I can kind of already get that idea just from watching that episode, is that they might be going towards that direction. And honestly, I don't know how to feel about that right now. That is one thing to where I'm like, okay. That is one thing to where I'm like, okay, that's something I'm not too sure how to feel about as of right now. It is only the first episode, so we'll see where things go from here. We do have 8 episodes of this. We get two next week, and then it's just one a week after that. Curse you, Disney. So, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that just yet, but I will give it time, and I will give it time to plan out and, see how it plays out throughout the episodes. So I will see where that goes. So I'm keeping an open mind, but as of right now, I will say I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if it's a good idea, but again, I'm willing to see where it goes. And towards the finale, so nothing, and because nothing really big happens, a bunch of mysterious stuff. Matt is hiding from Fisk and the goons and all of that, and the goons are going around hunting people down, trying to question like where Matt is, where vigilantes are. There's scenes where they're running through a restaurant, killing, and they kill this one guy who was the henchman of Fisk, who is a very weaker version of the guy from season one or whatever. That's basically the stuff that's going on. That is a pretty generic thing to be going on, so I get it. And then they get to the one guy that it works with Matt at his big lawyer company. I forget his name, but he's an older guy, and the soldier dudes who, if you remember, were obsessed with the Punisher in the final episode of season one, where they were wearing the skull, saying like, "Oh, you're my hero," like we idolize you and you're our hero, basically. And those guys are back, and they hunt down the old dude that works with Matt in the lawyer place, and they try to question him, and Daredevil shows up, fights him, and then realizes that, oh, this old guy, he's slowly having a heart attack and he might end up dying, because that's what I got. And then basically loses focus, starts thinking about Foggy, and starts thinking like, oh shit, what if that happens to him? What if I get excuse me, what if I get one of my other friends killed on accident? And then he hesitates, kind of stops fighting, and then he gets, overpowered by the goons, and they unmask him, and it's Matt Murdock, and they find out it's Matt Murdock. Then all of a sudden, these guys get assassinated. They're killed all of a sudden. And then who comes and saves the day? Not Jessica Jones, and definitely not the Punisher, but other than Bullseye. Why did Bullseye save him? Well, I don't fucking know, because now I have to wait another week. If you don't know, then I don't get to know. Fuck you. It's not your fault, I know that. I'm just mad at Disney because they left me with a cool cliffhanger. Sons of bitches. And the episode ends with a cool little cliffhanger of Bullseye basically saving Matt, and then a little cool little dagger knife coming up and says, "You're welcome" on it with his little logo on it. I thought that was really cool. I really thought that was a great way to end the episode. That was a good way to really catch your attention and really eager for more. I'm so glad we're getting 2 episodes next week, because then I can see those two together and see why. I'm a little excited because we're getting a lot of cool comic book shows. I watched Invincible last night. I like the new episode. I like how they did the whole devil stuff, but a lot of people didn't like it. I guess I'm in the minority. But overall, on episode one of season two of Daredevil Born Again, I really enjoyed it. It's just setting things up. It's just paving the way where the season's gonna go. It's not like, oh, peak cinema to me at all, like a lot of people are over exaggerating. Because I was just more of the minority, like, oh, this is just build up so far. They're paving the way with the season's gonna be, and then the way it ended, I'm like, oh, this is a great episode already. But yeah, I really enjoyed what this episode did. I really like how they're paving the way out and giving you ideas of where this season might go, where other episodes are going to be going. So I am very excited for future episodes. I'm very excited to see where these episodes are going to be going and where the season's going to be going and how it ends up leading to Daredevil Born Again Season 3 and the Punisher special presentation here coming up like right after the season ends. I'm very excited for the future of this show and very excited for what comes after the show. So let me know your guys' thoughts of episode 1 of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 down in the comments below, and we shall talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you love to subscribe with the bell notification so you will get notified for all my latest videos and for future Daredevil content like this. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.